I am a firm believer that we should learn from other industries. We've already seen equipment design influenced by developments in the automotive sector. We've seen safety standards tightened to match those in nuclear and petrochemical sectors. We've seen a greater awareness of the potential threat of drugs and alcohol in the workplace thanks to the examples set by the rail industry. And now we have another example to follow. I'm about to play you a video that we've compiled that is based on an accident report from the rail industry.
On the 21st of October 2021, a passenger train travelling at 123 miles per hour struck a hand trolley on the track in Oxfordshire. There were no injuries among the passengers or crew on board and the train did not derail. The hand trolley was destroyed by the impact and debris from it caused damage to equipment under the train. The collision also resulted in minor damage to the track. A maintenance team had carried out overnight work in the area and no one noticed the team had left its hand trolley on the track. The checks undertaken before handing back the railway for normal operation also had not identified the hand trolley's presence. A process which formed part of these checks was the line clear verification process. However, there were weaknesses within this process, and these were compounded by the maintenance team not following the process as it was required to on the night concerned. Underlying factors related to the weaknesses within the line clear verification process were: it was reliant on human actions for its successful implementation. It was separate to the work planning process as defined by Network Rail's company standards. Network Rail's assurance activities had not detected that staff in the Swindon delivery unit welding and grinding section were not complying with the line clear verification process. A further probable underlying factor was that hand trolleys were being routinely used at night without displaying any red lights and that no assurance activities were taking place within work sites to monitor compliance to this requirement. The Rail Accident Investigation Bureau has made 5 recommendations to Network Rail. The first is to establish how the existing line clear verification process can be improved, while the second is to consider what technology could be used by its staff to support the process. The third recommendation is to propose an amendment to the rule book so that hand trolleys are required to display an illuminated red light in both directions at all times when on the track. The fourth is for Network Rail to have processes in place to ensure that any hand trolley placed on its track has illuminated red lights displayed in both directions. The fifth recommendation is to review the effectiveness of its safety assurance activities which check that hand trolleys are being used correctly and safely. The Rail Accident Investigation Bureau also identified 3 learning points. The first reminds maintenance staff about the importance of complying with all rules and standards concerning how trolleys and rail skates should be used on Network Rail's infrastructure. The second highlights the importance of clear communication between the staff at a train involved in an accident and those based in control rooms to establish what damage has been sustained by a train, so that the appropriate controls can be put in place before the train is permitted to move. The third is that staff involved in planning maintenance work produce documents that are accurate, appropriate and specific for the task that is being carried out and involve those responsible for the work in the planning of it.
Now, there's a lot to unpack there, but let's start with the most obvious part. That accident in question took place on the 21st of October 2021, just under a year ago. In less than a year, the rail sector has investigated the incident thoroughly. It's done so without the help or hindrance of the Health and Safety Executive. That investigation identified several factors that contributed to the incident itself, and the Rail Accident Investigation Branch has now made 5 key recommendations on how a repeat of this incident might be avoided in the future. Now compare that to the so-called investigation that's been going on for almost 7 years over the Didcot disaster, or the 3+ years taken over the Redcar investigation. Rather than waiting on the outcome of an independent investigation, the rail industry has acted quickly and decisively. Rather than pussyfooting around for fear of prejudicing a possible prosecution, the rail industry has publicly stated the likely cause of a thankfully non-fatal accident. Maybe the demolition industry needs to take a leaf out of the rail industry's safety playbook. Maybe the demolition industry needs its own accident investigation branch. And maybe, rather than tiptoeing around in the aftermath of an accident or fatality, the industry needs to be similarly forthright and independently minded.